All right, welcome back, people. This is another exclusive content. We have a super special guest for y'all tonight, and we're going to get into some body confidence things. I would say.
Yes, yes. Brandy, hello, welcome,
Hello,
welcome.
hello, hello.
First and foremost, S Gang, what
S
up?
gang, what up? Shout out to the
What up?
members. Shout out to the
Shout
members. Shout
out
out to
to
the
the
members.
members. So glad to have you guys here with us tonight. And as he stated, we have a special guest joining us this evening for some nice conversation. Brandy, why don't you introduce yourself to all the members out there and to T so he can get an introduction of you, who you are, what you do, how you come to us, all that good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Aisha. Thank you, Tay, for having me. My name is Brandy Adams. I am located near New Orleans, and I have a yoga and wellness business that aims to educate marginalized communities on the benefits of yoga. And I teach many different adaptive styles of yoga to make it more accessible to different body types. Lately, our community has shown an interest in having um, some guidance on sacred sensuality and information about um, uh, experiences, traumatic experiences that may have happened, adverse experiences that may have happened in their childhood that affect their sexual health and wellness now. So, in our opportunities to educate the community, we are having roundtable discussions, we're having flower baths, healing circles, and opportunities for men now to gather and heal, all in the name of education, all in the name of returning to the body. So I'm very pleased to be here.
Oh, thank you,
Okay.
thank you,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, Ish.
So,
Before you get into your spill and the topic, I just want to
yes.
say that after you sent me that clip, I've been watching that show Virgins, and it's crazy.
I said Brandy that same clip. So did I tell you that?
Yes.
Brandy, you know what clip he's talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's first of all, how many seasons of that is it?
Oh, I don't know. I just turned on. I just caught it. Like it just happened to be on. Like when I was watching TV, so I just started watching it. Like where it's like right where you sent that clip from.
Clip it. Okay, yeah. It's on TLC. It's called
Right.
Virgins, right?
Right.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, I might have to check it out. I just came across that in like another group like chat or setting and I just decided to share because I just thought it was so like crazy and
Yeah.
so
But
wild.
but yeah, but fascinating because
Yeah.
human beings are so complex. I would
Hmm.
assume most people in my community, when I say my community, I mean those of us that are American descendants of slavery, I would assume that BDSM would not be appealing to most of us, just being attached to the trauma of
Right.
slavery and being beat. But this lady was soaking it up and she found her space, and I was happy for her. I'm happy for
Yeah.
anybody who finds that zone where they feel free to explore.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm all into that BDSM shit. I'm sorry. Spank me, beat me. Spank me, beat me. But
Right.
before we
Yes.
get into the actual topic, I do have a small little icebreaker for y'all. And it is just to kind of like, break the ice and start it off and get us in that little fun, kinky, crazy mood. Um, 3 rounds.
Okay.
Round one, round two, and round three. Now, Brandy, I didn't throw this at you because I wanted it to be totally organic and fun. Um, round one, round two, round three. What's your favorite and what consists of each one for you? And I'm talking about your sexual experience.
Mhm. I have this go to in my brain of my first experience with a woman that is just never going to go. Um, in fact, even when I'm masturbating now, like my go to, if I'm not having a flashback about a recent experience, I dig in my brain and I go back to that time. I was young, my titties were perky, her titties were perky. She taught me how to use something that I had not before. I had not had a clitoral orgasm with a man up until that point. I think I was about 21. And that experience really sat with me to the point where now, if porn does not interest me at all, because
Mm.
most times you don't see the clitoral stimulation, you don't see proof that the woman is actually enjoying it. So unless it's somebody like, doing like a really good close up, which are hard to do with the right angles, I really am not interested in it because I need to see proof of the clit being handled. So for me, that's the one that did it for me. Even though I like men, I like penis when it's applied properly.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
So round one. So do you like round one, round two, or round three of sex? Like, what's your
Yeah,
favorite?
like I can really say that it depends on my partner and how long I've been without it. If I've been without it for several months and it's just really energy between us, it's strong chemistry between us, we can stay in the house for 4 days, 3 rounds every day. And like you calling me, my phone's on D&D because I'm like, psh,
You locked
and
in.
then it's gone, locked in.
You locked
Sounds like a
in.
good time.
Okay. Okay. See, what about you?
Um, I think I'm gonna say round two. I think
Hmm.
round one, if it's like um your first time with that person,
Mhm.
I would say round one because it's the new experience of it. But normally, when it's your person, round one is just like a warm up. So then
Yeah.
round two would be my favorite.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Um, I'm going to say round three.
Mm.
I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna say round three. Round three is because at this time you have gotten the excitement off, you have gotten the nut off twice, and this third time is work,
Hmm.
pure work, sweat, work, um, exploring more because you're
Hmm.
trying to like evolve through this session after you've gotten the excited off, after you've gotten the second intense one off. This third one is pure like skill. Like, what
Hmm.
are you doing? How are you doing it? How are you rounding it back up to get me back to that certain space or point or whatever the case
Hmm.
may be? And if you really think about it, the orgasm or the intenseness, once you finally do come, because it takes longer,
Right.
Hmm.
is extreme,
Hmm.
in my
Yeah.
opinion or in my
Yeah.
experience.
No, yeah,
So,
that's spot on. That's spot
yeah,
on and that's real.
yeah,
I can definitely relate. That's why sometimes we stay gone for 4 days.
That's a
yeah.
fact.
See, there you go. There you go. Now, in certain little areas or, just spaces, people ain't going for 3, 4 days. You know what I mean? People barely fucking out here. Me,
Look,
plenty of
I have a
conversations.
theory. I have a theory.
What's the
Okay,
theory?
you really want to know? The theory is porn has got us thinking that uncircumcised penises are the norm, right?
Okay.
Porn has
What?
got us thinking that
Yeah, I don't
uncircumcised.
know. I don't know where
I'm
that
sorry,
came.
I said that the wrong way. I said it the other way around.
Okay.
Porn has got us thinking that uncircumcised penises are disgraceful, right?
Okay.
When the foreskin is actually a barrier of protection against the friction, helps him last longer,
Mhm.
increases the chance that she's actually going to get there with penetration. Most of our men in, Western society since the 80s have been circumcised. They may have had that choice made for them in childhood. But when I talk to people who did it later in life, um, they explain it like it's the best thing they could have ever done because they get there quicker. It's more intense. They have feeling.
Hmm.
So then I was like, so that's it. I didn't know if I had good pussy or if he was just a minute like
Like,
until I
what's
had
happening?
until I had an uncircumcised one and I understood the design, the cosmic design a little bit better. I was like, okay, so this is why I can't ever come from penetration because they were all skinned. They come too quick.
Yeah, I can't.
So wait, are you saying that you would prefer like uncircumcised over
Mm-hmm.
circumcised?
Yeah, that's what she's
Mm-hmm.
saying.
Yeah, because he can last longer with that barrier of skin there so that, whatever I need can actually get there. And if we go into three, there's a chance that he may be going even longer because of that just extra
I
layer of
might
skin.
I might agree with her in the sense of is what she's speaking of is kind of like condom sex. So it's like
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay. So let me just get this straight. Let's just play this out real quick. You meet a guy. You're interested in this guy.
Mhm.
Y'all rapping, y'all vibing. It's
Mhm.
like, what's the conversation like? Like, do you set this preference when
Well,
you're
at
engaging
my big old
or
age, I got things. Like, where do we meet? You got to give me some setting because if I'm at work, I'm at work. I'm not out there trying to meet anybody. I'm like, are you a
right,
plug for this or that? And
right.
it's an opportunistic type of thing. But if I'm actually at a mixer or speed dating, it goes a little something like, what are your hobbies? What do you like best about yourself? What's your favorite position? What are your strengths and things like that? And then if it's a follow up, I will ask a motherfucker for his my chart. Can you screenshot me your my chart? When was your last STD test?
Right.
And I don't care about your body count. I don't care who came before or who came after, but are we healthy enough to have raw sex now because this is how I like it? And if not, then I'm sorry, we can be friends. We can't,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. So
so.
when do you get to the I'm sorry, T, one second.
I was about to ask the same question that you're
Same
about to
thing.
answer. Go
So
ahead.
when do you get
Yeah.
to the part of are you circumcised or uncircumcised?
I have never asked a man that
Okay, you
before. I
just
usually
see it.
didn't
Okay.
find out until after, but we did cover sexually transmitted illnesses and have the talk about childhood experiences. Were you ever touched against your will? Has anybody ever made you do something, tell you to keep it a secret? And I have conversations like that with my partners before we do. And fortunately, for the last 4 years, I dated in and out, but I've only had two serious partners where we went through all of this and we knew we were going to be locked in. I didn't
Right.
have time for much else at my age.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. Well, T, before we get up out of that, you have any questions, other questions
No,
about that?
I kind of get what she's speaking of. Like I was saying, is kind of like condom sex. It's just that extra barrier. I just don't think that people would like want that like for a lifetime. I would say just because you just once you get into it, you kind of want to like that's the thing. You kind of want to feel it.
Right.
You don't want that extra barrier there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I think it could be worked out. Whereas though you're getting satisfied without that, I think that that can be worked out.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for
Hmm.
sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
it's more than one way for sure. And it was only when I talked to a friend who was in his 50s who had had it done. He's Latina. It's a cultural thing that they don't circumcise their babies, and he went his whole life. It felt good, but he didn't know that it could feel better with the foreskin removed. And I asked him, "Well, do you come quicker?" And he said, "Well, it depends on if I use a condom or not." Just what
Right,
you just said.
right.
So, I guess everybody's different, but I can see just in my own experience how that extra layer of skin is meant to be there.
Yeah, that's
It's
what I
meant
was
to
gonna
be
say.
there.
I think
Yeah.
that's the natural way that it was intended to be, and then we just changed it.
Yeah. for sure. Well, I've never had one. Um, I
Well,
don't
I'm
know.
I'm good on that. I mean, being
Well,
second time.
that's the thing. That's how that's why I brought it up,
Right,
because porn and false beauty standards have got us thinking it needs to look a certain way. It
Right.
looks like an anteater with the skin on it. You don't want to
right.
see that shit
Hmm.
because porn has conditioned you to see a skinned penis, just like perky titties, flat abs, tight butts, skinny bodies. And largely the majority of the population does not look like that and becomes very discouraged when they don't look like that, and it can really be a barrier to intimacy and
Hmm.
exploration.
Do, do
Yeah.
do y'all both think that though? Do y'all both think that I guess speaking as women, do y'all both think that when you're watching porn, like you're judging the bodies,
Yeah, I
or
am.
or you're
Yeah, it's
internalizing that?
educational for sure. It's
Yeah,
educational.
I am.
When I wanted to learn how to suck dick, I was watching Corinne Steffens
Mm,
until I had somebody to tell me she is really not doing it. Like it's really not doing it. And I'm like, you
Mm.
sure it looks so
yeah,
good? She's got skills. But I went because where else was I going to find education on the subject? It
right.
wasn't
Yeah, but
exactly
did
the
you were
kind of
you
thing I could
looking
talk
at
to my doctor about.
right? Were you looking at her body though, like and not
Right.
comparing yourself to her, but were you like looking at her physique outside
Oh
of, let's
yeah,
just say maybe at that time, well, you said you had an experience with another woman when you were
yeah.
younger, but maybe when you were watching that, were you like looking at her physique to
Oh
like
yeah,
say, oh, look at how.
even now,
Mhm.
yeah. I'm a person who loves aesthetics, male, female, gender neutral. If you got a pretty body, I'm gonna look. I'm gonna notice,
Yeah.
and not be creepy about it. But I have no problem complimenting another woman. I saw a woman at that open mic I went to the other night. She came through the door. I said, "Damn, your silhouette just made me turn." I said, "You are fine, fine." And it just made her feel better. She felt
Right.
good. I wasn't all creepy or,
Right.
thirsty like some of the men do. But I think we all notice pretty bodies, and,
Yeah, for
whether
sure.
we say it or not.
I would
Yeah.
like to like get more men's take on that because I don't. If I'm watching porn, I don't be like if her titties is like bad titties or good titties. Is they fucking like that?
Right.
Right.
Right. I got you. I got you. But that's why I too I think like during this conversation it's going to be like important just for your male perspective too because um well first let me just say like where this topic came from because and thank you Brandy so much because like I kind of just shot the topic out to you like after a conversation that I had and like you were definitely willing to like come on and chit chat with us. So I just want to
Yeah.
say one, thank you for that. But two, I was talking with a girlfriend and she just basically was saying, I'm fasting, I just need to kind of realign my body and things of that nature, she said, because I can't bust it open like I normally bust it open. And
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm glad that
I'm
she acknowledged that because a lot of people
yeah,
don't acknowledge that.
right. And
Mhm.
I'm like, what? Like it sounded it sounded weird to me at first. Like when she
Yeah.
said it, I'm like, what you mean you can't bust it
Yeah.
open? Because you could bust it open at any time. And she was just
Yeah.
like, no, I did not feel comfortable in my body. I just didn't feel
Yeah.
like,
Well, then
you
there's
know,
that other standard, right? There's
mhm,
that, excuse me, there's that pressure to perform.
Right.
right.
And, there's so much in the media that talks about pleasing men, and young women doing things to and for their bodies for the pleasure of men without ever having really explored that for themselves. We get a
Mm-hmm.
lot of education and training on how to please men in the music and the porn from our mothers
Mm-hmm.
and aunties.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that we need to do to keep him, right, to keep him,
Right.
and there's no such thing. There's no such thing. All it really takes is two people that really want to be together, but
Mm-hmm.
to make it a priority to be able to be, um featured by him or chosen by him. It's a confidence booster for some women.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
empowering.
Yeah. Well, she didn't feel empowered. She
Yeah.
felt she felt like, okay, I need to fast for a few days and
I mean,
get my
because
shit together.
what had happened, she gained a little bit of weight.
Well, I think too with the heat,
Right,
like, and if you eat certain foods, you're going to bloat. You're just going to feel like your body is just not going to feel sexually pleasing to the eye, to
Hmm.
him. Maybe, she just felt a little insecure about certain areas that were swelling up from whatever she was eating in the heat or wherever the case may be. So I
Hmm.
was just like, that's interesting because we talk a lot, see, just across the platform sometimes about like women not always feeling connected sexually to
right.
their person, to their partner, or whatever the case may be. And I started wondering, like, hmm, maybe what if some of that, besides trauma, we talk about trauma a lot, um, besides trauma, what if it was just, or how does body negativity fit
Hmm.
into the space of fucking?
Hmm.
Like, it's fit
Hmm.
into the space of sex. Like,
Yeah.
what if she just does it? What if she's so concentrating on her
Yeah.
fupa
Right.
or
Yeah.
her whatever that she just can't
Yeah.
perform? Sexual anxiety, maybe.
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
I get what you're saying. It's a bit of sexual anxiety, in my opinion. It's a bit of social anxiety, a bit of pressure to perform and pressure to live up to certain beauty standards. The only reason anybody ever consults with a surgeon is because they want to look better naked.
Right.
We got all kind of things for looking good in our clothes. We got Spanx, we got body shapers, we got push-ups, this and that. But I want to look good naked. So let me get these injections. Let me get this lift. Let me get this tuck. And our face that we leave with. So we've seen, in recent times, some people go way off the deep end once they start the surgery spiral. And some just get just enough. I had no ass all my life, and now I finally got a BBL. I feel good. I feel sexy. I feel like I own it. And it is really a measure of the sexual performance is really going to be a measure of how confident each person is.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. See, media, and I know that you being across different platforms, you have may have even touched on this a few times, like the media representation and the impact that it has on just beauty and body image. Do you think that like kind of really bubbles over into how a person feels when they're laying down next to someone? Like we
For
just
sure.
talked about Corinne Steffens, and
Right.
just like if we look at some of the new people, porn stars, I can't even think of their names offhand, but if we look at them and we look at their bodies, etc., do you feel like women could possibly feel like, hey, I don't look like her, or I don't fit the mold, so I can't perform or look what I need to look like for him?
I always say that women are always over the top in their heads about things. So if it's her feeling some type of way about her fupa, so she's not getting on top, she only wants you to hit it from the back. It could be all of those things that just playing mind tricks. You know what I call Jedi mind tricks, when they're playing Jedi mind tricks to themselves. When the guy is not even thinking about none of that shit. So
Right.
you not getting on top and he's not getting that experience because you're in your mind thinking about your fupa. And that's why I always speak to self confidence and knowing who you are and things of that nature, so you don't have none of those insecurities or restraints, so that you can just be free. And a
Hmm.
lot of times it is the social look, and they do pay too much attention to what the media says is beauty standards, or even what they think that just men think is the beauty standard.
Right, right. Do you feel like when you say men don't really care about that, like maybe what she's thinking about. So
Right.
if I'm thinking about my food, because
I can't.
but I'm just saying, like, if
it
she might
because
be concentrating on it, but and you're not,
right.
or like, he's not, or whatever the case may be, like, is it just because he trying to fuck and then he don't
It
really
could be
care about
both.
it?
It could be
Okay.
both. It could be both. It could be because he's just trying to fuck, and it could be because he don't care. And a
Okay.
lot of times it's like, so say you're a woman whose titties are sagging. Now you don't want to take your shirt off when we fucking. So it's a multitude of things that are happening just because you're in your mind about it. But if the
Mhm.
person that you're fucking really wants you, he wants you. He knows all.
Mhm.
He already knows
Right.
all
All
of your
things. Right.
spots and all of your things that
Right.
are going on. That shit don't bother him. He
Right.
wants you. He wants you to take your. He's not going to be like, no, put your shirt back on.
Right. Right.
Like, so it's the mind tricks that.
He gonna be like, bring them
Right.
babies here, bring them here, so I can get some.
and and
Right.
and even on the reverse side of that, women might not even know that men might do the same shit. Like a lot of men might not take off their shirts or whatever it may be because
Mm.
they might feel some type of way, and that's why it's supposed to be a free space for both to just go at it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's
Yeah.
crazy and that you say that, see, because out of all the things that I like sent to B, Brandy, I just nicknamed you B, sorry, but
B
um
medicine. That's my Instagram
there
handle.
you
Yes.
go. Um I didn't even reflect upon the male. Like I did not. It was all woman, 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 and didn't even think about the possibility or just
No,
didn't even think about
you
the fact that
no, see that's the thing. Y'all have to realize that that nigga only want to do it in the dark. He don't want to take off his pants until he good to go. It
Right.
goes on both
there's a lot.
sides.
It
He
goes
don't
on
want to
both
go
sides.
swimming in the
Right.
pool and catch a chill. He don't want you to see that.
I don't want you to see this. I got you. What does Brandy, what does self-love look like for you?
Self love means being unapologetically authentic and rejecting hypocrisy. And it takes courage. It's radical, it's bold. We are living in a time where we get all kind of false messages about ourselves. Like you just said, the hang ups, the lies that we tell about we can be our own worst enemy when it comes to,
Mhm.
giving ourselves that validation. If I tell myself on a daily basis, oh, my titties are saggy, oh, my ass is stretch marks, oh, I'm less than blank, then it's not necessarily what he thinks or what society at large thinks, but what is trapped within these two ears, that
Mhm.
is the struggle between me and my freedom. Um, I woke up one day, the best I can explain it is afraid of everything and nothing at the same time.
Mm.
When you step into your confidence, you feel there's nothing to lose, but there's a whole lot of haters out there, and I just got to go with it.
Mm.
And to me, it is a daily practice. It's something that we have to, it's more of an unlearning of false notions that have been programmed into our brains, sometimes from our parents and caregivers and right within our family, the community or the nation, society at large. Where these lies come from, I don't know, but they lies from the pits of a stinking cooch. You are amazing.
I can't. I love it. I love it. Yo, she be busting out of nowhere. I
I'm
love
so serious. Like, where did you ever start
it.
to question how beautiful, how sexy, how amazing you are?
Right.
Let's rewind and go back to that. When did you first start to doubt yourself? And then let's begin to heal past that until
Yeah.
you know that you know that you know you are the shit.
Hmm. And I think too, T, and I'm gonna ask you the same question just from a male perspective, but and I think too, I think that starts like probably from a young age. Like
Right.
that has to start from a young age, no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, or whatever the case may be, because I find that. a lot of people that I come into contact with, and even myself sometimes, there's a lot of self-doubt. Sometimes, there's a lot of critiquing of, how you look and what your flaws are and all of that. And I think that's where the trickle down effect comes in at, especially when dealing with men, um, being in sexual spaces with men sometimes, etc. If you have a self-doubt, it's going to sometimes relay over into sexual behaviors and sexual
Mm-hmm.
encounters. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Oh yeah, for
So,
sure.
yeah.
I
See,
think
what's
it
your self
does.
love? Go
I
ahead.
think it does start when you're young,
Hmm.
but I think it's not based in like if your parents instill that into you. I know that might help or it might make a difference, like if your parents are like saying you ugly as shit, like but
Right.
but I
Right.
still think it all stems from your personality. I think your
Hmm.
personality carries the most weight
Mm-hmm.
on how you feel about self love. So it's like there's going to be things that you don't like about yourself. So
Hmm.
you either work to change those or you accept those. And then I think people don't accent the things that they do like about themselves or that is their biggest thing. Like if the girl has a nice rack but she got a flat ass, but then she's wearing sweaters and it's like you have to like
Put your best feature
right
forward.
Forward. Right.
right
Right. Give
right
them something to focus on other than that
right
ass. Right.
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 Mhm.
So the so I think the self-love always starts in the person's personality, and
Yeah.
then you can build around that or build through that. So for me, self-love starts in my confidence.
Mhm. Okay. So I got a small little transparent moment. I might have even said this before one of the shows. In high school, there used to be this guy, shout out to Brock, but he used to call me La Piña Cara, okay,
Okay.
because we had Spanish class together. And he used to call me Pineapple Head,
Right.
La Piña Cara. My nickname, okay? Every fucking day down the hall, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I used to be like, Brock, leave me the fuck alone. Like, stop. But I became like self-conscious
Mhm.
about
I need to
my
say something to this, but go ahead and finish.
I became really self-conscious about my forehead, right? And when I was younger, of course, I was smaller and things like that. Like I kind of grew into my forehead. Now it's kind of cute. Like, you know what I mean? I kind of like it. I kind of love it. But I found that, I started at that point in time, I started being more intuitive to certain parts of my body, like that people would actually see and could possibly critique. And I became a little um like not
Mhm.
cringy, but I just became a little like, oh shit, okay. Like if
Mhm.
you thought she was cute,
Right.
bitch, you not. You
Mhm.
got a big fucking
Mhm.
forehead. And
But
he
Yeah.
telling the whole
Yeah.
school, like,
that's the problem.
Those are the voices that play on repeat, by the
right,
way.
But that's
yeah.
the problem. That's the problem because you're young, so you didn't know this, and a lot of women might still not know this. That's just a reverse psychology trick.
Hmm.
So the niggas that's running around like being sarcastic and saying "Hey, big head" and all that shit, they not saying
They
that to
really
the other
like you.
girls. Yeah, they
Yeah.
not
Oh,
saying
oh
they not
he's mean because he likes you.
right.
That's
They
some
not
toxic shit.
right.
Right,
They not
right.
saying that. They not saying that to the ugly girls. They're saying that to the pretty girls. And even if you do got a big head, you're still pretty.
Pretty. Right,
Like, so it doesn't really matter. That's why I said a
right.
lot of this shit be like in your mind, and the person who's doing this shit to you, they might not even know what they're doing to you. So they're giving you a complex, and they don't even know that they're doing this because they don't know how to express themselves.
Right,
So
right.
it's all psychological shit.
It's all psychological. So I was wondering like how do you, Brandy, we'll start with you. Like, how do you handle or how have you handled like over your lifetime, like any negative comment about you, if ever one was made known to you, let's just say.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, I didn't get bold and unapologetic until after 40. I just have to
Mm,
be real honest about that. I spent a good bit of high school, college, my 20s and 30s buttoned up, of wanting to please my parents. I was in church praying for a
mm,
husband. I was practicing to be somebody's first lady because I thought that that was what I had to do.
mhm,
um, I would, cover up. I never really had a lot of guidance on how to wear makeup or how to wear something that's sexy or classy. So then when I started to go out, it was either like really, really slutty or like, church girl, button up here. There was no in between because I didn't have those type of female relationships that celebrated sensuality and sexuality in a healthy way, even with just simple makeup lessons and simple etiquette on how to make eye contact, how to meet someone and how to sit, how to interact with just a little bit of guidance. I think I would have been less awkward. But
right.
I was very, very awkward. And then when I was 40, something happened. Right before I was divorced, something broke in
That
me.
that that I don't give a fuck kicked in.
I had less fucks to give. I
Right.
had way less fucks to give. And I slowly started to shed that away. It took me until now. And that's one of the things I'm thankful for in the pandemic, actually, because it caused us all to stop and take inventory of the people
Mhm,
and places that mattered the most. And it gave me just a bit of a springboard into I'm confident enough to define my circle and say
mhm,
who's here, whose vote
mhm,
counts, and who
mhm.
doesn't. And I
Right.
think with that reset, we had to all take a social inventory, and it paid off very well because those opinions, like on your head or your personal opinion, those things get easier and easier to ignore.
Mhm, mhm.
Can I ask y'all both as women, why do a lot of women value the one over the 40 and even yourself?
Mm.
You want to take this one?
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, like I have no clue as to why. It could be
Yeah.
a different number of things, but mainly I think I mean for me, I'm gonna say I think it comes down to just wanting to be ever so and wanting to be perfect in so many ways that you'll take it. Like you want to be in that percentile
Mhm.
that you
Mhm.
will diminish.
Mhm.
Is that what you're asking? Like,
I'm
why
tr-
are
I'm
we
saying I'm saying if 40 girls like me and you don't like
right?
me, I'm
Right.
not tripping over you not liking me.
Because it's just, I know, and like now, yeah, like maybe, but younger,
Mhm.
I would want to be ever so
Yeah, ever
like
so
that.
competitive, for your own ego.
For your
Like,
own ego.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's where the appeal comes
Right,
from
but your
with
own
women who sleep
ego.
with married men or women who are comfortable being a side chick and being kept a secret. They feel empowered in some degree of control. In my opinion, it's just my opinion. They feel some degree of control over their emotional vulnerability when they can call the shots and turn it off and on. And the relationship is largely transactional. They're not emotionally invested.
Mhm.
Right. Like your own ego should tell you that I'm who I am and who I say I am. So I think that I don't think it's your own ego that wants everybody to like you. I think that once again it's you playing mind tricks on yourself. So it's like
Mhm.
if you're self sufficient, that one person shouldn't bother your ego.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
then again, that comes to overthinking. That comes to
Yeah. It
overthinking
comes from
and
overthinking.
getting in your mind and allowing what that one person said to have you
Yeah.
now starting to, dive
Yeah.
into self-doubt. Um,
Yeah. When you live by self-love, though, you live blah, I'm blurted. Authentically,
Authentically, right?
okay? When you're living authentically, let me say it again, you start to view rejection as a gift.
yeah.
Thank you for staying the fuck away from me. Keep that over there. If you don't want this, I'm good because you probably don't need it. And that's okay. Rejection
Hmm.
will protect you. It will keep you safe from some shit that's
Hmm.
not meant for you. You learn to
That's
embrace it
true.
when somebody is not feeling you or if the connection didn't turn out the way that you thought it would.
Yeah. So T, we handle things emotionally driven, as you always
As
state,
I always say.
as you always say, women are emotional creatures and we're emotionally driven and we handle things emotionally. So as we can see, when Brock called me La Pina Cara, I handled that emotionally. How do men handle negative comments about their appearance, or like what do they like, how do they react? Like, do you think?
I'm not gonna say it doesn't hurt, but
Mhm.
we're more used to it than women are. So it's
Right.
like any man has been rejected, at some point in time. So it's not like a make or break thing for him. So does it hurt? Yeah, of course it still hurts because nobody wants to be rejected by anybody. But it's not a make it or break it thing for us.
Hmm. Right. Right. So you get like it kind of it sits there for a second and then you kind of
And it,
roll it
it
off
could
your
sit
shoulder.
there for a long time. It could sit there for a long
Mhm.
time, but for the most part, it's not going to break the man. Like a lot of women get broke by
Mm,
rejection. For the most part, it's not going to break the man. I,
yeah.
I would just want to ask, even just people in general,
Hmm.
because we're all not blessed to the eye, I would say. So
Hmm.
we're all not blessed to the eye. I always question and I always challenge people, just like how I said, highlight your accents, work on being a better person. Like,
Hmm.
but instead of that, why do people just choose to sit in, whatever that is, and
Yeah.
they only think about like the optics, as I always say, or the look of things, instead
Hmm.
of working on your personality and things of that nature, learning.
Hmm.
Like they just this is like fuck it.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I would think that sometimes, like, you know how you can be like, oh well, or you've heard women say, oh, he is ugly, like I can't even, like he would never get no box, or he would not. And then like I always wondered like how would it feel? Like, because it's not often that women hear that.
Yeah,
Like, oh, she's so ugly, I ain't smashing.
right,
Or she's so this, I ain't smashing. Because typically, like, we already know, like, they may engage even still.
right.
But
Somebody
for
gonna smash.
guys, right. But for guys, it's like, if
It,
he is hard,
No,
there's
it could
there's it's
be.
no,
I cannot
guys will do the
unsee
work.
Jay-Z. I cannot
God.
see Jay-Z in
And
96.
that's what I'm saying.
He was ugly
I'm
as
glad she's
fuck
speaking to
until
that.
he had money.
Exactly. And that's what they do. Exactly what she's saying
Right.
is what they do. They'll make
Right.
the adjustment. They'll make the adjustment. Whereas though most women won't make the adjustment.
Right.
They won't they don't have a lot of adjustment to you. There's no explanation for Lil Wayne.
I can't.
There's no explanation for Jay. There's a lot of them.
Right.
Oh my goodness, I don't want to hate on nobody. I can't put that out there. Lord, let me take all of that back
I
because
can't.
all of
I
these
can't.
people are beautiful human beings. But if you
But
saw him on the street,
Right.
he even says it in several songs. If you just saw him just rent, you would not be fucking with Jay-Z for real. You'd be like,
right.
that big lip. But with bread, he look a lot better. Steve Harvey is fine as hell with some bread, but without bread, Hmm.
Right. Right.
Not so sure. So, then it's transactional.
Right.
Hmm.
Then it becomes, well, he's only as valuable as his money. That's a whole human being. That's a whole heart, a whole spirit, a whole thing going on inside of him that's probably been rejected by women all his life until
Right.
he got money.
Yeah.
And so now
Mm-hmm.
he's super on guard. And we don't take the time out to break it down and really see people for their sacred spiritual value.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't. Most people not
Yeah.
operated from that sphere.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like the same thing as most things. That's not a conversation. It's never even thought of because it was never thought of.
Right. Right. What do you think would be the conversation after a motherfucker told you you ugly as shit? You
there
said
is no there is no conversation.
There's no
The
conversation.
conversation's over.
no
Yeah,
conversation, no conversation.
there's no
Um,
conversation.
at all.
Yeah.
Be checking them deuces or
Yeah,
putting them
I
to
could
middle
think of
finger.
some clapbacks. But it just depends. We grew up in the 80s, me and mine. So we know how to play the dozens. We know how to clap back. We know how to talk about your mama real bad. And we have thicker skin,
Right.
So
Yeah,
I can think of some things real
it's
quick.
the same.
But
Right.
usually, and I'm not trying to act like I'm some kind of saint or self-righteous or something, but when someone feels the need to insult me, immediately there's a space in me that goes, why are they so guarded? And how can I help bring that wall down? Because they're only trying to hurt me because they're hurting.
Right.
What's hurting them and how can we bring that down? Like, I feel sorry for you talking shit
Right.
about me. I really
Right.
do. And I hope you heal.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't.
I know what
Say,
that
let me.
is. Nah, I know what that is, and I tend to lead into the same direction as you. Like I don't take it personally because I know is coming from hurt. So I would like try to steer the conversation into a different direction or just try to comfort you because you're not gonna I'm not gonna allow you to hurt me because you're hurting.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
understand that. And I understand that.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna just have to take that. Like each know I always say you gotta eat shit and die. So sometimes you just gotta know when to eat the shit. So let them get their shit off and just channel it somewhere else because you
Mhm.
gotta peep the play is what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's for
and then
sure.
you gotta know, you gotta be confident in something. If you're my friend and you say, girl, don't wear the outfit, that's ugly. That's love. That's you saving me from doing something potentially humiliating. But if I show up and you like, well, why did you wear that ugly ass outfit? For a minute, I'm kind of crushed. I'm kind of like, damn, I thought my outfit was cute. And then I'm either going to clap back and put up
Mhm.
my defenses too and say something insulting to you. But with age and wisdom, I'm going to be like, okay, obviously you got something going on. I don't know who hurt you,
Mhm.
but keep that over there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go have a good time. So
Right.
I think with age, different responses to insults come. But with confidence, you can handle any one of them and let
Right.
it roll off your back because people
Yeah.
always going to talk shit.
Yeah. That's for sure. That's for sure. So, if it was one thing that you had to say, Brandy, over your time in this life, what is one thing that you've learned to appreciate about your body? Through all the
Oh, yeah,
changes
through
that
all
you
the
have
changes.
gone through. Hmm.
I used to have a tiny little scar. I had an appendectomy when I was 2 years old. My mom
Hmm.
and daddy tell a story about how I almost died, but it fucked with me so bad because, in the 90s, we was wearing crop tops and, those thick wedge shoes with the bell bottom jeans. I want to wear my belly out. And I had this scar that, oh my goodness, all the voices in my head about how my body should look and um, people who would make fun of strippers that had stab wounds or bullet wounds. I told myself, well, I could never be a dancer. I could never dance naked because my body has this scar. Well, I could never wear certain things because my body has this scar. It was tiniest little thing. It was maybe 2 inches long, and it fucked me up. Well, um, 3 years ago, I had a surgery, and they had to reconstruct some things there. The scar was gone, and it was something that I felt like I was parting with like a family heirloom or something. I was
Hmm.
like, oh, you put it back together, you took my scar away? And he's like, yeah. I said, babe, but I lived with that all my life. I wrestled with that. So the conclusion I got out of that is that sometimes people trust their pain and their testimony and their trauma more than they trust healing or help.
Right.
Hmm.
That's the thing that got me to where I am. Even if I had hangups, I want to hold on to this pain more than I want to hold on to what
Hmm.
the healing potential is.
Hmm. See, see. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. The more and more that we talk through it, I swear, a lot of people probably be in their head when it come, to getting down with the get down,
That's a
because
fact.
they
Yeah.
too, for especially somebody new. Like I can definitely say that that is definitely a thing. I've talked to many a women about that. Like, getting into a groove with somebody new is difficult, especially when you're insecure about certain things, and just like, that
But
first
are
time
y'all
taking it
are
close.
y'all yeah, are y'all thinking about y'all bodies in the moment?